Good afternoon on what is a cool, grey and cloudy day. It is Monday the 31st of October and I've got a nice little cup of tea. And a parcel to continue unboxing. Now what I've pulled out of here already is, let's have a look, is this, which is Nevermind the Dice Rolls, Fanzine, printed, published here in the UK, and this is issue 1. What I have here is Nevermind the Dice Rolls, issue 2. Nice sturdy little fanzine. Issue 2 promises it's a Halloween issue, so it's appropriate for the day in which I'm actually recording it. Reviews of Vampire and Symbaroum, the Dungeon Master section, Perception Check horror podcasts, tricks for scarier game scenarios, both fun and frightful, and promises the Y documents, investigations into the supernatural and the paranormal. And it's an inexpensive little fanzine, just a couple of pounds per issue, so really quite fetching. And it's from Nevermind the Dice Rolls. This was published in 2021 October, so last year. So quick note from the editor, and then we've got material contents. And if you've got it, haunt it. And this is talking about horror. Nice play on words in the title, of course. I do like a nice bit of wordplay. So, you know, it's looking at the most common types of horror sub-genres, so killers, psychos and slashers, paranormal, comedy, horror, monsters, post-apocalyptic and psychological, which is the author's favourite. So, nice little overview of the genre. Then we get into behind the screen and talking about safety tools, and this is talking about things like consent, lines and veils, use of the X card, which has become more prevalent as we've accepted a younger audience into the hobby. And you know, I mean, there are always issues and elements in gaming that not everyone is going to be happy with, and I think having lines and veils and safety tools is a good thing. No point in making people feel necessarily uncomfortable around the table. So then Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, a fun system agnostic Halloween scenario. So Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, it suggests witchcraft and the like as spell casting, and this is easily adapted to the system of your choice. The game master just has to provide the numbers. I've got the first review, which is of the Vampire Masquerade, which is appropriate for the issue, of course, Halloween issue. And then 13 cheap tricks for frightening Halloween games, short and simple, quite punchy. And then Perception Check is handling on, you know, this is talking about different podcasts you can listen to, especially horror ones. And there's been a big rise on, you know, over the past few years of podcasts, you know, gamers thinking that, you know, let's get together and talk about my hobby, and that's great. You know, it's almost like, you know, I've got a blog, I've done that, now I'll do a podcast or something like that. But I mean, you know, it's always good to get to separate different opinions. And then basically we have a parody horror game here, the Y documents, not the Axe Files, but definitely our researches and investigations into the paranormal and the unknown. And second review is of Symbaroum, the dark fantasy role-playing game from Free League Publishing, which, you know, has been a really big hit over the past few years. Purely mainly because of the artwork, because it had incredible impact. You know, no role-playing game looked like that. And its artwork was style we've seen in more Free League content, in particular the Alien role-playing game, and to a certain extent the One Ring second edition, although not too much of it, because it doesn't quite feel right. It's there for all of it. System bashing, and really a case of, you know, this is a call for sort of like good manners, sense between gamers, you know, as they sort of like prevaricate and have a go at each other over which system is better than another, which style of game is better than another. Can't we just be games altogether, sort of thing. Random Halloween tables, inspiration and ideas there for the game master to plunder, and then working your player skills, a guide to being a good player. Now, in a lot of cases, we have lots and lots of advice for being a good game master, a good referee, how to do it better. And it's not just using those safety tools, it's tricks and tricks and ideas for the trade, that sort of thing, which will make your game that much more challenging, that much more entertaining for your players. But sometimes you really do need to reverse that and say, how do you be a better player? For example, one of my maxims is, if you're at a convention game, step up to the game. You're there to play and enjoy yourself, put yourself forward, but know when it's time to step back and let someone else have a chance in the spotlight, because they're going to be on their top form as well. Give them a chance to do that. And again, it's a continuing theme throughout the issue. So we've got a discussion of safety tools. So it's not just Halloween. It's the scares and frights within gaming itself because of who we are. People rubbing up against each other and difficulties and so on. So again, it's carried on with the system bashing, and then into working your player skills. Being a good player. And then we have toxicity, and I've got a visitor. Okay, the cat who's not ours has come for a visit. He's not interested in toxicity, are you? But okay, so this is talking about toxicity within gaming, and it's there, and it can come. Generally, it comes more from the extremes of the gaming field, whether that's coming out of the old school Renaissance. Because older players tend to embrace that. They tend to have certain leanings, whilst the younger players tend to have leaning the other way, and they tend to rub, the differences tend to rub each other up the wrong way. That's just an overview of just looking at sort of like the discourse between them. Finally, we've got a short scenario, places to rest. And basically it's time for a relatively modern setting, but it's systemless. It's a little horror scenario. Sorry, he's just fussy once. So yeah, that's places to rest. And then rounding it out, we have Dear Dungeon Master, but it's a guide, quick sort of, classic kind of style advice column. And here we have, Dear Dungeon Master, my current group is awesome, but they're all engaged, excited. Thankfully, this has continued, even though we've bring the game online during the pandemic. It's much harder to show, basically online gaming, it's much harder to ensure that people aren't talking to each other, over each other. And that is a problem, online gaming, it's difficult to kind of find a moment when you should be speaking, because someone's talking, you've got to wait for them to finish. You can't cut in because the technology is focusing on the person currently talking, and so on. So there's advice for that, and of course you've got a submission guides at the end. So yes, that's Never Mind the Dice Rolls, issue 2, Halloween special, published in 2021. Probably what took to, I think, if you're interested in fanzines, in talking about the hobby, they're always worth looking at. This one pays particular attention to 2 subject strands: Halloween, scary scenarios, that kind of thing, and then a little bit more about gaming culture and its toxicity, and avoiding that and playing better, which is all good advice. It's worth having there, even if it's necessarily going over old ground. Anyway, Never Mind the Dice Rolls, issue 2 from Never Mind the Dice Rolls. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, please click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you'll see me out here with a package containing a book or gaming, in this case a fanzine, which I'll unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, then please hit that subscribe button down below. In the meantime, thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. I'll be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.